What's up guys, my name is Gabe and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. Last week we projected the starting offense for the 2025 season, and it is now time that we do the defense. Now as things currently sit, I do believe that the defense is going to be the strength of the team. There's obviously still questions up and down this roster that won't be answered until the spring portal window, and after we do have that window and bring in some more players in the transfer portal, I will be doing a new edition of this video and the one for the offense. But guys, let's not waste any more time. If you are enjoying the videos, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do want to help support the channel in an even bigger way, I do have channel memberships in the description down below. And I also have the Trojan Blade Patreon down there as well. Going to have some exclusive content going up there this offseason. Planning on doing some old game watch-alongs with you guys. And also posting some film study videos that I can't do here on YouTube due to copyright issues. So yeah, having said all of that, let's get into the defense. All right, and obviously there's a lot of rotation on defense as compared to offense. So the starting 11 isn't quite as important, but I still think it's a very interesting conversation. And the formation we're using for this is D'Anton Lynn's 4-2-5 nickel base defense. So starting with the front four, the hand in the dirt defensive end is going to be Anthony Lucas. The defensive tackle is going to be Devin Tompkins. The nose tackle is going to be Keyshawn Silver. The stand-up pass rusher is going to be Cam Fountain. Your two linebackers are going to be Desmond Stevens and Eric Gentry, Desmond running the mic, Eric running the will. Your two safeties that are pretty much interchangeable are going to be Bishop Fitzgerald and Kamari Ramsey. The two corners are going to be DJ Harvey and Marcellus Williams. And at the nickel spot, I have Prophet Brown listed right now. So normally I'd start with the defensive line and work our way up, but I am going to start with the secondary and work our way down. I don't really know why, but I feel like doing it that way, so that's what's going to happen. All right, so starting with the safety position, and this is going to be very interesting. D'Anton Lynn really likes to be interchangeable with his safeties. But last year, I thought his hands were kind of tied because Kamari Ramsey and N'Keal Arnold really have some similar skill sets. Whenever there was a deep safety, Kamari was the one usually running that. Kamari was the deep safety in cover one more than anybody else on this team last year. But comparing Kamari to Bishop, Bishop is a true center fielder. Yes, he is a very good tackler. He was able to come down and play the run well at NC State. But to me, his best position is that single high safety in cover one. And Kamari Ramsey's at his best when he's down near the line of scrimmage and more in a central roaming position. So I do think we are going to see Bishop Fitzgerald as that true free safety and Kamari as the true strong safety. Whereas last year, we didn't really have a defined safety position. It was just kind of like all the safeties in one bucket, and on any given down, they can do each other's jobs. I do think that is going to be a little bit more defined and maybe a little more specialized is the word I'm looking for. But overall, this room, it's kind of interesting. The only proven player in this D'Anton Lynn system is Kamari Ramsey. Everybody else outside of that is a question mark. Yes, including Bishop Fitzgerald. We don't know for sure how he's going to fit into this D'Anton Lynn defense. We have an idea, but right now that's all it is, an idea. Now there's obviously not just going to be two safeties playing, so who's the other guy going to be? Well, the three candidates I'm looking at are Christian Pierce, Jarvis Boatwright, and Marquise Gallegos. I am a big Christian Pierce guy. I have been ever since I saw him in that first spring game come down and fill the hole against Darwin Barlow. That guy was a load, and as a true freshman, Christian absolutely smacked him. So as of right now, my money is on Christian to be the guy that kind of breaks through. But at the same time, Marquise Gallegos is such a fluid athlete. He is a natural born safety, one of the smoothest guys on the field. If he can continue to develop his body and really get into college shape, I definitely think there's a chance he's the guy that comes through and plays this year. Now looking at the nickel spot, this is a big worry for me. There's not a lot of natural fits here on this roster as we currently sit. And while Prophet Brown is a fine player, there were a lot of big mistakes last year. That Maryland game is really tough to get out of my head. I am not at all comfortable with him being the answer there as we go into the 2025 season. But looking on the roster, there's not that many options there. Are we going to add someone in the spring portal? I could totally see that. But guys, we have a true freshman coming in named Alex Graham from the state of Michigan. And let me tell you, this kid is going to be an absolute superstar. I see a lot of people projecting him as an outside corner at the collegiate level. For me, he's a nickel all the way. Size, speed, tackling, run support. And also he is able to come up and man a tight end. He can do all the jobs you would want from a nickel. And I know it's so hard for true freshmen to contribute on defense. And maybe it's not right away. Maybe it's in game 6 or 7. But do not be at all surprised if Alex Graham is making a huge impact for us down the stretch. All right, now looking at the corners, again, this is an area of concern. You have DJ Harvey, who I think is a fantastic player. He's a transfer from San Jose State. While I believe he's going to be a good player, we don't really know for sure. That's a pretty big jump up in talent from the Mountain West to the Big Ten. And then on the other side, you have a redshirt freshman in Marcellus Williams, who again, I am a massive fan of. I think he's going to be a hell of a player, but we haven't seen him play yet. So again, that's another question mark. And looking at the other guys in this room here, DeCarlos Nicholson is a guy that's coming back. I think he is much more suited to being a rotational guy as opposed to a starter. A guy you bring in for 10 to 15 snaps a game. Definitely don't think that's a guy you could run out there and consistently start at the cornerback position. And then outside of that, again, it's a bunch of question marks. You have a very young guy like Braylon Conley. Again, a kid I'm super high on, reminds me a lot of Denzel Ward for my Cleveland Browns. He is a press man cover corner, very physical at the line, big hitter, very good recovery speed as well. You have the freshman Tristan Castro. Don't really think a true freshman is going to be able to contribute at the cornerback position. You guys know where I stand. That is the hardest position in sports. Harder than quarterback, harder than left tackle. Playing corner is impossible. Go out there and mirror the best athletes on the opposing team. You can't touch them, you can't grab them, you can't be physical. Mirror their handcrafted routes while backpedaling, while not knowing where the quarterback's going to go with the ball. I mean, it's just a ridiculous job that these guys are asked to do these days. And asking a true freshman to come in and help with that, that's a pretty difficult task in my opinion. You have guys like Malachi Crawford, Isaiah Rubin. With Crawford coming off that injury he had last year, he's a big question mark. Point being, this room got absolutely gutted with guys leaving for the NFL, and we 100% need 2 or 3 reinforcements in the spring portal window. 3's probably pushing it for what's realistic, 2's what we really need, but 1 is probably what we will get. That's how those things usually work, but we need reinforcements in the corner room in the worst way. Hearing the names I just listed for you should tell you why. All right, now moving to the linebacker spot. So while I have a 2 linebacker base here on the screen right now, especially on rundowns, Lynn likes to bring in 3 linebackers. So in that case, who's going to be the 3rd guy in? A lot of people think it's going to be Anthony Beavers. For me, I think it's going to be Elijah Newby. Elijah Newby's a freak athlete, and I don't think I'm over exaggerating when I say that he's a brilliant kid. I mean, this kid had Ivy League offers out of high school, and it's not just book smart either. He is very smart on the football field. He picks things up very quickly. He knows what the opposing offense is doing. I just like everything about this kid. And I think he's going to be a superstar, especially in this D'Anton Lynn defense. He's going to fit it like a glove. But talking about the Mike spot here, this is without a doubt the biggest worrying spot on this roster for me. We are one Desmond Stevens injury away from Anthony Beavers having to start at Mike. Absolutely nothing personal to Anthony. Love the kid. Such a hard worker, has overcome so much in his career. But guys, when you're playing in the Big Ten, a converted safety cannot be your starting Mike, or even your second string Mike for that matter. This is a major concern for USC heading into the 2025 season. And again, while I think Desmond Stevens is going to be a superstar in this defense, this is a sophomore that you are putting a whole bunch of responsibility on. In the spring portal window, we have to go out and get someone that's played the position at a fairly high level, someone with that experience to give Desmond that backing. Quite simply, if our starting Mike goes down, a 220-pound converted safety cannot be the answer there. And looking at the other options, it's just some more young guys. A guy like Jaden Walker, a freshman like Matai Tagovailoa, who I think is going to be a big-time player, but physically he is not at all ready to contribute at the Big Ten level. Having Eric Gentry at that will spot is obviously very important. That is going to be the best player on the team this year. Up until he got hurt last year, I thought he was the best player on the field every time we played. Yes, including the opponent's players. Eric Gentry was dominant, don't get it twisted. Talk about a freak in nature. You look up freak in the dictionary, Eric Gentry's face pops up. This guy's a monster, true sideline to sideline, true threat as a pass rusher, an elite tackler, and with that crazy wingspan, he is very disruptive in the passing game. This is a guy that changes the outcomes of games for you. You've heard Tim say it on his channel. You've heard Preston say it on his channel. If we have Eric Gentry this entire year, if he doesn't pick up those concussions, we win 2 more games. He's that important of a player. We don't lose to Minnesota and we don't lose to Maryland. Is that me crying? Is that me whining? I don't care what anyone says about that in the comments. What I said is 100% factual. He's that important of a player. And spelling Eric in these 2 linebacker sets, again, I do think it is going to be Elijah Newby. All right, now getting to the defensive line, and I'm fired up to talk about this group. This is the best group on the entire USC roster in 2025. Imagine telling yourself that 2 years ago. That 2 years in the future, the defensive line is going to be the strong point of the team. You probably just would have burst out in laughter, but guys, it's 2025 and this is where we are. And we could be here for hours talking about this. D'Anton Lynn has so many different looks for those guys up front. I will go over a few of them, but obviously not all of them. That would just take way too long and my brain would get completely scrambled. So talking about the 4 guys I have on the screen right now. Anthony Lucas was a very good defensive end up until he got hurt this last year. He was very good in the LSU game, dominant in the Wisconsin game, and it's really a shame the way his season ended against Penn State. but I do look for him to come back this year and be a very, very good player yet again. Probably the best run defender we have on the team. If he can increase his uptick as a pass rusher by even a hair, that will take his game to an entirely new level. Very excited to see his improvements this offseason. Devin Tompkins at defensive tackle is the guy I'm most excited about in this entire defensive line group. By far the most improved player on this team from 2023 to 2024. Remember guys, he's really only been playing football for a few years. This was a pure basketball player in high school, and he is really coming into his own. He's really developing. The technique and knowledge of the game is finally catching up to his natural athleticism. This is an incredibly powerful guy, very fast, very strong, and I would look for him to take an even bigger leap this next season. Now, the interesting thing with Devin, he can play inside, he can play outside. So it's 4th and goal, you're on the 1 yard line, you have to get a stop. What I believe would happen, I think Cam Fountain's gonna come off the field. I think Devin Tompkins is gonna switch to that other defensive end. He and Lucas are both gonna have their hands in the dirt. And then you're gonna have 2 nose tackles on the inside. So in base, look for Devin to be playing inside, but when we get into those critical rundowns, look for him to shift to the end position. Now nose tackle, Keyshawn Silver. Now is Keyshawn Silver an elite player? No, he is not. That's not what we need him to be. He is absolutely an upgrade over a guy like Kobe Pepe, and Kobe Pepe was not bad last year. You get a massive increase in pass rush upside from your nose tackle position with Keyshawn in there. You could argue that he's a better pass rusher than run defender, but as we saw last year, what he's going to be asked to do in this defense is eat up space. So if he can get you 2 or 3 sacks over the course of a year, that's massive production from that position. And I think he's completely capable of that. But shifting over to edge, you have Cam Fountain. Now we all know about Cam Fountain. The potential is limitless here. And the way he came on at the end of the year, I thought Coach Henney did a phenomenal job with him. And I obviously look for him to get better going into this year. But around the halfway point of this season, towards the end of it, I think he's going to be an absolute monster. I'm thinking an 8 or 9 sack season, which guys, for a sophomore is absolutely elite. If we get anything more than that, that's just icing on the cake. But again, sacks are not the end all be all. But one thing Cam does better than I think anybody on this team is really set that edge in the run game. He is so far beyond his years mentally. He sees the game like a vet. He plays the game like a vet. And if he can increase his pass rush output, which I absolutely think he's going to, this could be one of the most complete defensive linemen in the entire country. And as a true sophomore, that would be absolutely remarkable. But the insane thing is that it does not end there. We have a ton of rotational options across this entire defensive line. You have a guy like Braylon Shelby that I thought was playing his best ball towards the end of last season, especially in that Texas A&M game. He could spell either Lucas at end or Fountain at edge. There are 2 more interior options in Kobe Pepe and Jade Abasiri. If we get the same Kobe Pepe that we got this last year, and that's our 3rd option at nose tackle, that's pretty fantastic. And Jade Abasiri is an interior guy. When we go into that NASCAR package that D'Anton Lynn likes to run a lot, especially on 3rd down on those passing downs, what I think we're going to be seeing there is again Fountain and Lucas at the 2 edge positions. You could sub in Braylon Shelby at either of those. And then the 2 pass rushing interior linemen are going to be Devin Tompkins and Jade Abasiri. I really like what Abasiri showed as a pass rusher this last year. And obviously pairing him with Tompkins on the inside gives you a ton of pass rush upside. You're going to get pressures, you're going to cause havoc with the quarterback, and obviously that only leads to good things. The 2nd nose tackle is probably going to be Jamal Jarrett, the transfer from Georgia. This guy is an absolute Goliath of a human being. Not at all proven at the college level, has not played a lot of snaps over the course of 2 years at Georgia, but a guy that can no doubt do a job for us at the nose tackle spot. Again, when you're asked to eat up space, a guy that size, he's going to be able to do that just fine. Anything else we get out of him is icing on the cake. Jakeem Stewart, the 5-star freshman, is coming in. He's going to be playing defensive tackle. He can also play end for you, but I have never heard D'Anton Lynn talk about anybody the way he talks about this guy. He said he does things no one else can do, which at his age and his limited playing experience, I'm very curious what he's talking about, because you should see Lynn's face when he talks about this kid. He absolutely lights up, and Lynn doesn't light up talking about anybody. So is Stewart going to factor in this year? I'd say almost 100% yes, he's going to. Where is that going to be? Is he going to be primarily on the inside? I think for his freshman year, you'll see him a lot of edge, a lot of defensive end. Don't know if we want to throw him to the fire in the interior this early in his career. But again, if he's that strong, that powerful, then go ahead and throw him in there. No harm in that. But this is probably a guy you're going to see exclusively on passing downs, with the primary job of getting to the quarterback, causing a fumble, causing havoc. Another interior option is a guy like Carlin Jones. We did not see him last year. He was injured the entire year, but another one of those highly rated recruits. A ton of athleticism, a ton of strength. How is he going to cope from that injury? Is he going to be fully back? And what is his ceiling at the collegiate level? Those are all things we're going to find out. You cannot talk to Tim Prangley 10 minutes without hearing the name Ratumana Bulabulavu. Tim absolutely loves this kid, and when you watch his high school tape, it's very clear to see why. Insane motor, insane strength, very, very violent defensive lineman. Could he be a guy that factors in here? And then you have the freshmen, guys like Floyd Boucard, Cash Jacobson. But if any of those freshmen are going to break through this year, I think it's going to be Gus Cordova, a guy that was criminally underrated by the high school recruiting services for certain reasons. But man, this kid is absolutely electric. He already has the strength, he already has the size, he already has the athleticism. But the thing that separates Gus apart from all the other young guys is on the football field, he is an absolute lunatic. This kid is aggressive, this kid is violent, this kid's motor is never ending. Fourth quarter in a blowout, he's still going 100 miles per hour. There is no off switch. By the end of this year, he's going to be a fan favorite. He's going to absolutely lay somebody out. He's going to get up screaming and flexing, and the Coliseum is going to go crazy. This kid is a superstar waiting to happen. The only question is it going to be this year or in years to come? Again, very hard to expect a true freshman to contribute along the defensive line, but if anyone can do it, it's definitely Gus. That kid is an absolute menace. But yeah, as we sit, that is the starting defense heading into 2025. Again, a ton can change in the spring portal window, and frankly, it needs to. Again, I think we are doing fantastic along the defensive line. So many options, so many diverse skill sets. Love what we're seeing there. At linebacker, we quite simply have to add one or two guys. That room as it currently sits is not good enough, especially the backup Mike position. We cannot allow that to sit where it currently stands. Same thing with the corners, got to add some people there. Would love to add a nickel, but I'm feeling very good about our safeties, Kamari Ramsey, Bishop Fitzgerald, and all the other guys. So yeah, that's the starting defense. And guys, this is a fascinating conversation that I know we're going to have differing opinions on. So any thoughts you have, please let me know down below in the comments section. The second this video goes live, I'm going to be down there responding to your guys' comments. So please let me know what you think. And if you did happen to enjoy this video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You're all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on.